NHL team stats, week 24. There are the Jets, Winnipeg, just so you know what I'm wearing. I'm uploading this and filming this as of Wednesday, March 20th. So keep that in mind when you check out these stats I'm about to show you. It's all pre-March 20th games. I was supposed to do this video last week. I didn't. I apologize. You don't care. So let's get right to the board, shall we? Starting with power play percentage, the best power play in the league. Top 5. Here we go. Tampa Bay Lightning at number 1. Florida Panthers number 2. Boston Bruins number 3. Winnipeg Jets number 4. Pittsburgh Penguins number 5. That whole thing is pretty much the same. Pittsburgh I think has bumped their way. They move between 5 and 7 all the time. They're looking good if they can stay healthy. Especially I'm talking to you, Letang and Murray. If those guys and Malkin, if those guys can stay healthy, right now they would be facing the New York Islanders in the playoffs, and the Islanders have just been really wetting the bed in the past while. I'd say ever since they beat the Leafs like 5-1, that Tavares homecoming, they haven't been playing too well, and that they played Boston yesterday. And it was Leonard's first game back in a while, I believe, because he had a concussion or something. And he played well, but they still lost like 5. They lost 5-0. The Islanders had 13 shots on net. Not in a period. All game. They had 13 shots. Boston is that good, and the Islanders just haven't been playing well. What can I say? I wouldn't want to be the Leafs, because the Leafs got to play Boston in the first round. And the Leafs have been wetting the bed lately as well. Their defense and their team defensive structure overall just looks porous. Looks awful. They're going to get steamrolled by the Bruins. And I'm a Leaf fan. I hope that doesn't happen. But in any case, let's talk about the worst power play in the league. The worst 5 here. Starting off at number 27 spot, we got the Vancouver Canucks, 28th. New York Islanders, 29. The Columbus Blue Jackets, 30th spot, we got the Nashville Predators, and the 31st, last spot here, the Montreal Canadiens. So the playoffs teams here, we got the Islanders, we got the Jackets, we got the Predators, and Montreal's only about a point out of the playoffs at the moment of this video. Predators, especially picking up someone like Simmons, you think that would slowly get better. I know Simmons only had his first goal against Toronto yesterday. It was Tuesday, the 19th. His first goal as a Predator, I think, in like 9 games. Wow. But hopefully that stat picks up for Nashville as they get into the playoffs. It's got to, if they're going to make it far. And then Columbus Blue Jackets are barely in the playoffs right now. I think, Montreal's only a point behind them, I want to say. So for that last wild card spot, I really like Columbus to do well. Just the fact that the GM went all in and made a trade for Duchesne and Zingle and all these players, and you wouldn't want other GMs next year just to be timid because, oh, look what happened to Kekalainen last season when he went all in and they just pooped the bed at the end, You don't want to see that. You want trade deadline day to be exciting, and so I know maybe that won't affect anything, but it could. That's all I'm saying. Enough of that. Let's move on to the best penalty kill in the league. Starting off at number 1 spot, Tampa Bay Lightning. Number 2, Arizona Coyotes. Number 3, Columbus Blue Jackets. Number 4, New Jersey Devils. Number 5, the Dallas Stars. So Columbus Blue Jackets are in the top 5 now. There's something that will help them in the playoffs most definitely because a lot of good teams, a lot of top teams have good power plays. Look at Boston and Tampa and Toronto and who else? Who's going to be making it into the playoffs? Pittsburgh and everyone in their conference, really. So New Jersey Devils. New Jersey Devils are in a positive category, the top 5 category on my board. I'm happy for them. Hey, they've had a hard year. Really, a lot of injuries. Taylor Hall, I don't think he's going to play this season, really. In any case, let's move on to the worst penalty killing in the league. Starting off at number 27th spot there, we got the Colorado Avalanche. Number 28, Detroit Red Wings. 29, LA Kings. 30, Edmonton Oilers 31 in last place to the Chicago Blackhawks. None of those teams are playoff teams, right? So, I mean, Colorado is maybe 2-3 points out of a playoff spot at this moment. I don't think they're going to make it in. I mean, you could argue Edmonton and maybe even Chicago, but those teams, I don't see them making it. I don't see it happening. If anything, Minnesota might give Arizona a run for their money because there's only a point difference there. Let's talk about shorthanded goals. Small category I have here. Top 3 teams. Number 1, the Calgary Flames with 17. Number 2, Arizona Coyotes with 15. Those 2 teams have been there for most of the season. And number 3 spot, we have a little bit of juggling here. We got Pittsburgh and New Jersey Devils in another positive category here with 10 shorthanded goals. Let's talk about shooting percentage, the best in the league here. Now, the league average, I threw it up there, is 9.5. So in the first spot here, we got the Tampa Bay Lightning as usual with 11.9. Number 2 spot, the Washington Capitals with 11.2. Number 3 spot, we have a tie between Toronto Maple Leafs and Calgary Flames with 11%. Number 4, we have Winnipeg with 10.9. Number 5, the San Jose Sharks with 10.7. Number 6, the Pittsburgh Penguins and Chicago Blackhawks with a 10.3 shooting percentage. And the last 7th spot that I have here is made up of the Ottawa Senators with a 9.9 shooting percentage. The usual suspects for the most part. I think Chicago and Pittsburgh kind of move their way onto this list, and Ottawa's been on this for the most part all season long. As awful as they've been, they have been able to score. Let's talk about the worst shooting percentage in the league. And that 27th spot, we've got the Montreal Canadiens at 8.7. 28, we've got the Minnesota Wild and Arizona Coyotes at 8.6. 29th spot, we've got the Carolina Hurricanes at 8.5. 30th spot, we have the Anaheim Ducks, Dallas Stars, and Buffalo Sabres at 8.3. And the last spot there, bottom of the league, we have the LA Kings with an 8.2 shooting percentage. They could really use a Jack Hughes. See how I made that rhyme? I'm talented in many forms. In any case, they, I'm hoping LA gets Jack Hughes. Actually, I'm kind of rooting for them over Ottawa / really Colorado, because Colorado's already pretty good. They get a Jack Hughes. I think you might be able to talk about them contending next season if that happens. Possibly. LA, not so much. They still need a few more pieces. There's a lot of old guys on the team that are just slow. They might make the playoffs next year if they get Jack Hughes. Might, but I don't see them making any noise. Let's talk about save percentage. Best save percentage in the league. Starting with the league average, which is .905. Number 1 spot, we have New York Islanders still with .924. The Dallas Stars in the second spot with .923. Number 3, we have Tampa Bay Lightning with .919. Number 4, Boston Bruins .916. Number 5 spot, we've got the Winnipeg Jets at .912. The Maple Leafs were on this, but they got bumped off because they've just had a horrible 2 weeks, really. I think they're in 7th or so spot right now. And all those teams have had, for the most part, pretty good goaltending. Winnipeg's been a bit here and there, but Boston, Tampa, Dallas, Islanders, I know the Islanders got shelled against Boston, and lost 5-0 the other day, but hey, they're still there. So let's talk about the worst save percentage in the league. 27th spot, starting with that, we have the Edmonton Oilers and the Philadelphia Flyers at .897. 28th spot, we got the Chicago Blackhawks at .896. 29th spot, we got the New Jersey Devils at .894. 30th spot, we have the Florida Panthers at .892. And the 31st spot, we've got the San Jose Sharks at .891. San Jose Sharks are finally in last. They've been in that bottom 5 category for a while now. I'm scared for them in the playoffs. I'm kind of really rooting for them out west. Eric Carlson has been hurt for the last little while, and they could really use him. They got spanked the other day against Vegas, and Vegas looks like they're in playoff form. They look fantastic. I believe they beat the Sharks that night. It was a couple days ago now. It's like 5-2. San Jose's goaltending. Will they pull a Washington Capitals a la last year, and just all of a sudden their goaltending will start being better? I'm talking about you, Mr. Jones. Dr. Jones! So, I don't know. We'll see. But I don't see them winning a cup with that kind of with those kind of bad numbers, those ghastly numbers, save percentage numbers. So let's talk about a couple of new categories I sort of put on here. The best goals for average per game. How many goals teams score per game? In their first spot we have the Tampa Bay Lightning with 3.8 a game. Second spot, we've got a tie between the Toronto Maple Leafs, San Jose Sharks, and Calgary Flames with 3.6 goals per game. And in the third spot, we've got a three-way tie between the Washington Capitals, Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Winnipeg Jets with 3.4 goals scored per game. Yeah, I mean, San Jose's in there. It's one of the only ways that, they're in one of the, I want to say they're second in the West right now. Right around, with the porous goaltending that they've had, the only thing they can do to counter that is score a lot of goals, outscore the other team. And hopefully Erik Karlsson will come back at least a couple games before the playoffs, just to get his legs back and help get that puck out of their zone. Because if it's in their zone, it might be going into the net. Let's talk about the worst goals for. And starting with in the 29th spot here, we have the bottom three. The Arizona Coyotes with 2.6 a game. 30th spot, we've got the Dallas Stars, 2.5 a game. And the 31st spot, we've got the LA Kings and the Anaheim Ducks with 2.3 goals per game. So right now, we've got two playoff teams in those bottom three categories. In the Arizona Coyotes, who are barely hanging on to that last wild card spot there. And of course, the Dallas Stars, who have that first wild card spot out west. And you're only scoring like that. Yeah, I see a first round exit for both those teams, but you never know. I mean, if you're facing a team like San Jose with bad goaltending, or even Calgary sometimes. I mean, Riddick is, he goes on these stretches where he's really good, and then he has some bad games. Calgary, it's still about goaltending in my mind. They'll go as their goaltending will go, because they can obviously score a lot of goals. But if they face like an Arizona or Dallas in the first round, I don't know. We'll see. Let's talk about the best goals against in the league. The opposite category here. Number one spot, obviously, is the New York Islanders at 2.21 a game. Number two spot is the Dallas Stars at 2.24 a game. And number three spot is the Boston Bruins with 2.39 a game. No surprising there. One of those teams is going to win. One of those goalie tandems from one of those teams is going to win the Jennings Trophy. Pretty much. I'm going to say Dallas. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Say Dallas. Let's talk about the worst goals against per team. In the 29th spot, the worst three. We have the Philadelphia Flyers at 3.17. Number 30th spot, we got the Chicago Blackhawks at 3.43. And the 31st spot, we've got the Ottawa Senators at 3.46. None of these are playoff teams. Philadelphia's, they're not. They did an admirable run. But there's just too many teams for them to jump over. Chicago Blackhawks, same sort of thing. And that's about it. Let's move on to the best face-off teams in the league. Starting with number one. The usual number one spot goes with the Philadelphia Flyers, 54.9. Number two spot, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs at 52.9. Number three, we have the Calgary Flames with 52%. Number four, we've got the Dallas Stars at 51.9. And number five spot, we've got the Anaheim Ducks and the St. Louis Blues with a 51.6 face-off percentage. If you happen to be a playoff team and on that list, hey, that can do nothing but help you. Let's move on to the worst face-off teams in the league. 27th spot, we've got the Buffalo Sabres at 48.2. 28th spot, we've got New York Islanders at 48%. 29th spot, we've got New York Rangers, 47.5. 30th spot, we've got the Arizona Coyotes. And the 31st spot, we've got, and the worst in the league, we've got the Washington Capitals. So the only playoff teams there are the Islanders right now and the Capitals. The Capitals, and the Arizona Coyotes, excuse me, wow. What was I thinking? Pardon me, Arizona. The Capitals, This looked like the best team out of that bunch in terms of making it far in the playoffs. And they still haven't. They never did anything, about the, getting a good face-off man really for during the trade deadline. So we'll see if that hinders them later. I mean, last year it didn't hinder them because they weren't that bad. Because they had Jay Beagle, albeit on the fourth line, they had him taking a lot of defensive zone face-offs, especially on the PK. So. Yeah, we'll see what happens there. Let's talk about shots against per game. The best in the league, the top three. We got number one spot, we have San Jose with 28.5. Second spot, we got St. Louis, Carolina, and Calgary at 28.6. And number three spot, we've got the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas has been resting Fleury a lot lately, and I think they've finally come around to, hey, if you want to help Saban out a little bit, don't let in so many shots on him. Don't allow so many shots on him. So yeah, and then here they are. They've made that list. I think of all the teams that look the most playoff ready right now, I'd have to say Boston, Tampa, of course, that's a gimme, and then Vegas. As I mentioned earlier, they look good going in these last 10 games. Let's talk about the worst shots against per game. The worst three spots here. At 29, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Detroit Red Wings. At number 30, we've got the Chicago Blackhawks. In 31st spot, we've got the Ottawa Senators. Pittsburgh probably has to improve that if they want to help Murray out. He's been playing a lot better since January, but he still has not been the Murray of the Cup years. I don't even think anywhere near that. So they really need to probably cut that down if they want to increase their chances of getting past the first round. Yeah. Let's move on to hits. Let's talk about hits per game. Top four in the league. We've got first spot. Speaking of the Penguins, they're at number one there, 29.1. Second spot, we've got the Vegas Golden Knights, 27.6 hits per game. Three spot, we've got the Edmonton Oilers with 27. And number four spot, we've got the Montreal Canadiens with 26.7 hits per game. Of course, right now, it's only Pittsburgh and Vegas who are the playoff teams that are on that list. And how much will that have an effect on how well they do in the playoffs? I think it will have a really good effect. So we'll see. Let's move on. Let's talk about the bottom four hits per game teams in the league. Starting off at 28th spot with the Nashville Predators. The 29th spot, we got Toronto Maple Leafs. 30th spot, Chicago Blackhawks. 31st, we have the Calgary Flames. Nothing new there. Those teams have been in those spots all year long, basically, with a little up and down maybe between Toronto and Chicago. Let's talk about points. The most points in the league right now, number one spots. No surprise to see Tampa Bay Lightning with 116. 116. They're 16, 17, 18, 19. They're 19 points more than the next best team. Isn't that crazy? Am I doing my math correctly here? Anyways, yeah, that's just like 20 points better than the next best team. That's just shocking. All right, so number two spot, we've got the Boston Bruins and the Calgary Flames. Number three spot, we've got the San Jose Sharks. Number four spot, we got the Washington Capitals. And number five spot, we got a tie between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the New York Islanders. Let's end this video on a nice, sad mark, and let's talk about the worst points in the league. All the draft lottery guys. So maybe this will make those teams excited. In that sense, in number 27 spot, we've got the New York Rangers and the Anaheim Ducks with 69 points. Number 28 spot, we've got the New Jersey Devils with 63. 29th spot, we've got the Detroit Red Wings. 30th, LA Kings. And 31st spot, the Ottawa Senators. Only a 2-point difference between LA and Ottawa right now. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Anything else you'd like to say down below in the comment section there. Hit like if you like this video. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And hey, if you happen to have any Hockey Geek friends, please don't feel shy about sharing. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.